absolutely unique.
Quinnen Williams is a bully of an athlete, a 300-pound force who can wreck games on any given play. He's a true leader on and off the field with NFL bloodlines, and he has the ability to anchor the middle of the Cowboys defense for years to come. Coming out of college, he was listed at 6'3", 303 pounds, somewhat lighter than many space-eating interior linemen, but his big advantages are leverage, hand usage, and quickness. He was drafted by the Jets with the 3rd overall pick, and he has shown to be one of the better defensive tackles in the NFL, and this dates back since his college days. And people forget how dominant this player could be when he's motivated. Double teams don't stop him, guards hate blocking him, centers cannot anchor against him, and on top of that, he is versatile, with experience playing 1 tech and 3 tech, something that is absolutely needed for this team. Fast forward to now, where he's traded to the Dallas Cowboys for a 2026 second-round pick, 2027 first-round pick, and also Mozzie Smith being moved to the Jets as well. And one thing I did want to show y'all, here's the list of the defensive tackles that won a Super Bowl the last 7 years. You honestly start to realize something that most fans never talk about. Every championship run from the recent years have been powered in the inside. Not by those flashy edge rushers bending around a corner, but by dominant interior defensive linemen who collapse the pocket, destroys timing, and forces quarterbacks into mistakes. So in my opinion, it starts there. And with Quinnen Williams, I believe that we got ourselves one. So let's break him down and see what he can bring to the Cowboys. So on this play here, one of the things that makes Quinnen Williams stand out is his ability to still affect plays even when he's double teamed. He absorbs it, finds a way to disengage, and lays a body on the runner. This is why he is graded as PFF's top run defender so far this season, and one of the traits that he will bring to Dallas off the rip. So let's split it. So locking on this play here, you see that he's lined up at that 3 technique position. That guard and tackle here attempted the combo block, but you can just see that he has enough power to be able to hold his ground. And on top of that, the strength to be able to disengage and stick his nose in there and stop Rico Dowdle right on his tracks. And a lot of these times when you're playing that defensive line and you can be stout right there, and these offensive lines, they have to game plan for you, it can allow everybody else on that front 7 to get busy. You do have a lot of these players in the NFL, they can eat up blocks as far as the double team, but they can't get off of those blocks. But with a player like Quinnen Williams, he has what it takes to be able to get in on that action. And when I look at these defensive tackles, I want to see consistency. Can you be a player that can go out there and do it down in and down out all 4 quarters? And seeing him, the motor, the physicality, the ability to be able to keep leverage, that's how you stand out. And he was literally one of my favorite players coming out of that draft class. I knew he had the ability to be able to turn up. He doesn't play too much 1 technique, even though this player has the ability to be able to do it. But the good thing is, this is one of those athletes that's versatile. So if he can come in here early on, splitting doubles, eating up combos without giving ground, and keeping those linebackers clean, it's going to be a green light for this defense. Here's another rep of him lined up in a 3 technique position where he was being double teamed, fighting with the tackle and guard again, and splitting right through to get the Rico Dowdle. It's all about playing to the whistle and resetting that line of scrimmage. And with my guy Quinnen, he definitely brings that wreck. So let's run it. So locking on this play here, you see Quinnen, he immediately takes off. I like the swim move. We love to be able to break this stuff down in slow motion, just splitting right through and not giving up on the play. And you can see with that guard, he tried to give him a shoulder, but with Quinnen, he was still able to get through and was able to stretch those arms. And locking in on that real quick, just seeing him going out there and trying to get his hands on the ball, not only is it good for you to get a guy down, but if you can have that Peanut Tillman energy to be able to knock that ball out, that can be able to switch momentum, Cowboys Nation. But this is something that I have not seen in a long time as far as that defensive tackle position. Just having that ability to not only be physical with these double teams, but you can get slippery and stress out these centers, guards, as well as these tackles. And to hear about him being the top run defender out of every defensive lineman, that goes a long way if this team is trying to take that next step. And pairing him with Kenny Clark, we know the kind of wreck that this player brings, but he is one of those talents that he needs a guy with him. So Kenny Clark can play that true one technique position, and they could both go to work. But seeing him beating another double team block, splitting right in between those guys and getting slippery, and getting to Rico Dowdle was fireworks. Here's a rep here where he's lined up against Broderick Jones, one of the offensive linemen that I really like coming out, but on this play here, he simply manhandled him, imposing his will to make a play on the runner. So we go ahead and spin it. So locking on this play here, not only those center and guards, but it's good to see him going up against these tackles as well. But you see that they collided quickly, but Quinnen Williams has that brute strength that if you do not get your hands inside of him first, he will find ways to be able to control you. So as you can see, he's leaning his body weight on Broderick Jones' outside arm, sticking his nose in there again, and he's keying in on Aaron Rodgers. When you have that interior pressure, it is absolutely hard to be able to get around. I respect the edges, but when you do have a dominant defensive tackle in the interior, it is a nightmare when it comes down to these quarterbacks. That is why a lot of these Super Bowl teams, it starts with that 3 technique. You got to have a stout 1 technique. It will absolutely bring the best out of everybody on defense. And this was actually one of my favorite reps because Broderick Jones, he's not a perfect player, but he's not a bum. It just shows that Quinnen Williams is a dog too, and every dog has their day. Quinnen Williams just got the best of him on this one. And as far as his pass rushing ability, I think that he does have the skill set to be able to get 4 or 5 in a season. That's fireworks when it comes down to the interior. It's not always about being able to get that sack, but if you can be able to generate pressure at an elite rate, collapse the pocket before the edges arrive, and force quarterbacks off their spot, it will make a difference quickly. Another thing that I like about Williams since college is his ability to stonewall pulling guards or pulling tackles. You'll see him engage with that right tackle right here and completely flood the line of scrimmage, making it easier for the rest of the guys to rally to the ball and make a play. So we go ahead and run it. So locking on this play here, just watching that right guard, pull to the left side and clash right at Quinnen Williams. The good thing is when you have a player like Quinnen Williams who is so physical, he will stop you right where you stand, smashing right in between the line of scrimmage and completely disrupting the offensive line's blocking concept, giving enough time for the rest of the defenders to make a play. And it's so exciting to be able to see these kind of plays when it comes down to Quinnen Williams. That's why next game I will be doing another video. So make sure you guys subscribe if it's your vibe. You already know the kind of quality that we're bringing for the good plays and the bad. But when you do have a defensive tackle that can be physical against these pulling guards, these pulling tackles, sometimes these offensive linemen, they let up in the fourth quarter, and that's when the entire defense can put their foots on their necks. And it's the same thing that goes for being able to run the ball on the offensive side. When you can be able to continue to be physical, these defenses, they let up. But this ended up being another dominating rep by Quinnen Williams here. At 300 pounds, most linemen are powerful, they can pressure quarterbacks, but only a few can be able to move well laterally. Williams shows that he has the ability to put himself in proper position, close in on the ball, and finish these plays. The film always tells the truth about these athletes. So let's run it. So locking on this play here, you see he's engaging in contact. We got a lot of plays to show. I'm trying to be quick when it comes down to this film session, but we all got to see this when it comes down to Williams. But just studying the body movement, closing in on the ball, and getting straight to Kenneth Gainwell. And that's one of the areas where I do want him to be consistent. Sometimes you will see him playing that hero ball if he does move laterally. It doesn't happen a lot of times where he gets completely washed out of a play. He's making those plays more times than not, but this is the kind of play that separates you from everybody else in the league. But when you do have a player in Quinnen Williams that can not only line up at that 3 technique position, the 2-eye, the 1 technique on certain downs, he has the ability to fit odd or even fronts. He has produced in multiple systems. This is why the Dallas Cowboys had to go get this player. And I believe with Matt Eberflus, I think he had DeForest Buckner, and that was the time when he was at his best as far as defensive coordinator. So it goes back to that 3 technique, those defensive linemen setting that tone and blowing off timing. I always say that if you can be able to stop that run consistently, it can close half of these offenses' playbook. And as far as the pass rush, Fast pressure equals shorter coverage time when it comes down to the cornerbacks. So everything is literally going hand in hand. But another dominating play here, getting out in space, moving laterally, and getting to the ball. Here's another rep of him moving laterally and sniffing out this screen. So running this play here, you see that he's patient, just seeing what the offensive line and the quarterback is doing, sees that screen play, flips those hips, and locks right in on a receiver. And I'm telling you, man, this is a player here I think that can be able to turn up in game one against the Raiders. It's been a long time since we had this kind of energy as far as that defensive tackle position. I love Osa Odigizua. Even though he has not been making a lot of plays this year, he's going to have to turn up. If you got paid, you got to be on top of it. Kenny Clark, you got players like Donovan Ezaraku. Shout out to him because he has really been making a difference as the season's been going along. But with this whole entire defensive line, they're going to have to build that chemistry and get it going. And I honestly believe that this is absolutely a huge opportunity for Kenny Clark and Osa, because when you have a physical presence in Quinnen Williams, he's going to demand a lot of double teams, so there will be one-on-ones all over the board. So if you can't beat your guy, that is a problem. So I will be watching. But with Quinnen Williams, he has shown on film to me that he can be violent, he's fast, he has precise hands, he wins the leverage battle early, he can move laterally on certain plays, and on top of that, he can stack and shed on one motion. So it's a laundry list of skill sets that he's going to bring to Matt Eberflus and his defense, and it is going to be exciting to watch. Here's another rep where the lineman was shading left and couldn't fully get a hold of Williams, and he absolutely dominated this entire play. So locking on this play, you see the tackle, he's trying to attack his inside shoulder, but that was absolutely a mistake off the break. Because with Williams, he does have the ability to quickly disengage, and he gets to the running back again. And it's a plethora of plays when it comes down to him. Not only will the defensive lineman get better, but shout out to my guy DeMarvion Overshown, a player that if he is free, if you keep him clean, he can scrape. He is very, very athletic. He's super aggressive and a guy that can be able to wreck games. So by Quinnen Williams being in the interior, you will see a supercharged Overshown. And one of the things we've been missing as far as the defensive line is consistency. Not only just one play, you got to be able to do this game in and game out. When you have offensive players like Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Javonte Williams, all it takes is one turnover to completely shift momentum. And that can be the biggest difference of winning and losing games. So with Quinnen Williams, he brings that kind of energy. So on this final play here, it was another rep where he absolutely was dominant, collapsing the pocket and forcing the quarterback to throw the ball away. When you do get pressures like this, it will force these quarterbacks to make quick business decisions. And sometimes with this kind of energy, it could change games. So let's run it. So running this play here, just see how quickly he jumps off the ball. The thing is, he is so quick. He has that ability to be able to shock you right at the line of scrimmage. And a lot of these times with his power, you will not have a chance to be able to recover. But you can see that he is bench pressing him, and it did look like he was going to close in, but he slips. The quarterback did throw the ball away, so that's good, but you got to keep your balance when it comes down to these plays. And not only this play, there were other plays where he was falling down. It looked as though he was going to get close to the quarterback, but he wasn't able to finish on a couple of these reps. But just seeing him, when you're going in on Sundays and these offensive coaches, they have to game plan for him. Hopefully guys like Matt Eberflus can be able to work around that and get everybody else on this defense rolling. But this is absolutely one of those additions that I am excited for. And I can't wait to see him, Cowboys Nation. Him, DeMarvion Overshown, Shavon Ravel, as well as Logan Wilson. Because with this defense, they need a spark. So it's going to be good to see how it all plays out with this entire team, the offense, the defense, and special teams. As far as the defense, it starts in that interior. Quinnen Williams is going to change the culture when it comes down to that defensive line, but everybody else is going to have to lock in. When you can continue to keep bringing in dogs, the NFL is not for long. You do not want any of these guys getting comfortable. And sometimes when you do bring in these kind of players, everybody else tends to turn up. But having Quinnen Williams, who can play multiple positions, he's a threat to penetrate every single rep. He creates chaos immediately. He beats guards off the snap. It is special to watch on film, but he's going to have to go out there and do it when it matters most. So comment below and let me know what you guys think about the addition of Quinnen Williams, and who else do y'all want to see me break down, just like this video. So make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because the way the YouTube algorithm works, if you don't hit it, you'll miss on fire updates and the best Cowboys film sessions on YouTube. All right, Cowboys family, talk to y'all soon. Gone.